This is Vinyl 4, back for round 13. Here we go. Some interesting
13.
matchups. I've been looking at this all week, thinking about it. I'm not even sure in some of these, Craig, where I'm going until the moment that I make the decision. Let's just jump in. We did our recap. Last episode was our recap of the previous 4 rounds, 9 through 12, where we went through our 4 fours, our Sweet 16,
Yep.
if you will. Here we go with round 13. You are up first because it's an odd number week. I did not say you were odd. I just said it's an odd number week. All right, you're
Likely
first up.
story.
Here you go. Your first 2 matchups. 319, the OJ's Backstabber versus 486, Pearl Jam Vitology.
Yeah, this is an easy one for me. I mean, Vitology's a good album. I think their first 3 albums are really good. The first album's a classic. But Backstabbers is an incredible. It is truly a classic. That is a great OJ's record. I don't go to it nearly as often as I should, so this is a gentle reminder. So I'm going OJ's all day.
Man, I'm actually shocked by that in a good way. I was fully expecting you would go with Vitology, which is a really good record, but yeah, I love it. I love the surprise.
Yeah, I just don't think Vitology's aged that well to me personally, but who knows? I can kind of see where their first 3 records would kind of be in there, but we'll see. I haven't looked to see how many they have in there, but I imagine it's probably those first 3. Okay, your first grouping here, you got 246, which is Jerry Lee Lewis, All Killer, No Filler, the anthology, versus 480, Funkadelic, Maggot Brain.
Yeah. Well, I have a lot of respect for Funkadelic. Never been a huge fan, so I'll just jump right out there and get rid of any mystery on this. I'm a big Jerry Lee Lewis fan. I don't love every single song that he did from the early days, but there's enough of those, like Whole Lotta Shakin'. Hey, Great Balls of Fire. It's been played to death, but it's still a great song. I love how he evolved into country music later and reinvented himself. I love Jerry Lewis. And look, I use this phrase all the time, all killer, no filler. I've probably done it on this podcast 3 or 4 times. How can I pick against an album called All Killer No Filler, which is obviously a Jerry Lee statement? So I'm going Jerry Lee Lewis.
Okay.
Sorry, Funkadelic. Back to you. Here we go. You have at 284 Barry White, Can't Get Enough, versus Simon and Garfunkel, Bookends, which came in at 235. So Barry White versus Simon and Garfunkel.
Once again, I feel like this is one of their seminal albums too. Don't get me wrong, I really like Simon and Garfunkel. Their importance is huge, but I oftentimes just kind of get bored with their records. There's not a single one I dislike, but I just never go to them. I never go to their albums for some reason. Hugely important band, amazing harmonies. Barry White, on the other hand, I think Barry White is overlooked. I really do. I'm happy to see this album listed there, especially down at 284. So once again, this is a pretty easy pick for me. I'm going Barry White, Can't Get Enough.
Man, that's first 2. I would have guessed you were going the other way on both of those. So that's really cool.
Well, I know exactly where you're going with your pick here. So it's just because you didn't even know the album title before. So I know you're not going with Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links. It's up against the classic television Marquee Moon. Marquee Moon came in at 130. Raekwon came in at 481.
Are you trying to influence my decision right out of the gate? The way you just introduced Raekwon, how I didn't know the title of it, and then to call television the classic television. I think you're trying to influence me here. Yeah,
there's no
influence
needed.
You're spot on. Television all day long. I actually didn't listen to television after this record. I know you've listened to and followed them with their follow-up album. I actually have never I may have listened to the follow-up one time. This is a highly, highly influential album. It 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 it's punk, but it's not punk. And I've even
Right.
heard so many people have waxed poetic about television, about this record and what they were doing with the dual guitar approach, that it was the punk version of the Allman Brothers with Dwayne and Dickie, the
I
dueling
like that.
guitars, and it's just it's such a unique album, and I don't think, and I know you won't disagree with this, it's never been replicated. The sound has never been replicated. The
Nope.
whole idea of this, and to think that this album is what, 50 years old is
Yeah.
crazy. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on. The combination of Verlaine and, Lloyd, seriously, that is
Yeah.
just absolute blistering guitar work in a very different manner. Yeah, if that was ever discarded, if it ever gets discarded and I have the opportunity to pick it up, I will definitely pick it up. One of the best debut albums of all time. Yeah.
Alright. Well, two your next matchup is 171, The Byrds, the Notorious Byrd Brothers, versus the Rolling Stones Now, and that's with a big exclamation point at the end. That came in at 180. It's actually funny that these in this random matchup, 171 versus
And
180.
180.
Yeah.
Yep.
What say
We've
you?
had some close matchups. Same thing with the 235 and 284, pretty close in
Yeah.
range. And I feel kind of lukewarm on really both of these, if I'm being honest. I really like the Abco Rolling Stones records, but, they're almost all covers, if not up until a certain point. They'll throw a couple of, it wasn't really until they put out Let It Bleed that they started really getting into their own music. Um, but regardless, it's a really Rolling Stones Now is a really great album. This is probably going to shock you. I don't love the Byrds. I love their influence. I really do. The only Byrds album I love is the one that you love. The one where they completely went off that album to me is so unique. They did country the way I want to hear country and western. This is not a bad record. It's a classic Byrds record. I love their influence, but the band itself kind of bores me. So just based off that alone, I'm going to go with Rolling Stones Now.
Okay. Yeah, and the album, of course, that you're referencing of the Byrds is Sweetheart of the Rodeo, which is one of the
Yeah,
greatest
which we've
albums
covered.
of that era. It's gonna
Yep.
make it very deep into this tournament. Love it. So, yeah, I'm with you all the way. Alright,
Yeah,
I'm
I
ready.
was waiting for you on that because I know you'd already picked it. So
Yeah.
cool. All right, so we got two albums here for you that I don't really know where you're going to go with this one. I really don't. I don't know if you're familiar with really either one of them, but one of them's all the way down at 30. That's Joni Mitchell's Blue, and that's going up against 441, The Pogues, Rum, Sodomy, and the Lash.
Yeah, I actually am familiar with both of these. I own both of them. I don't listen to them a lot. I actually went back today and listened to parts of both albums again, just to one more time. Honestly, I didn't have an idea where I was going with this pick until I listened to both
Right.
albums earlier today. I've always they're very similar to me in one way, not in their sound, completely different era. Everything
Yep.
about them is different. But the one thing where they are different is Joni Mitchell and the Pogues are two artists that I've always wanted to love, yet I
Yep.
don't love either. And I want
Yeah.
to. I own Rum, Sodomy, and the Lash. I also own um, the album after that by the Pogues. I own 2 or 3 Pogues records. None of them
Like
I've
probably Poke
tried.
Mahone.
Yeah, it's the one about God. If I should fall from
Oh, yep.
grace, if I should fall from grace
If
with
I should fall
God.
from grace.
Yeah,
Yep.
which is a great title considering their background and everything. I thought it was always an interesting, compelling title. Joni Mitchell, I've always wanted to really love because so many of her session musicians are some of my favorites. And I love the
Right.
sound. I love the warmth that she gets on those records, but I don't love her voice always. So it's a
Mhm.
tie. It's a tie, but guess what? There are no ties in the Vinyl Four. So now I got to make a
There
choice.
better not be.
There better not be. The tiebreaker is Joni Mitchell. And the reason is because I just believe that the Joni Mitchell record, it stood the test of time. It's probably, what, 15 years older than the Pogues record. It's referenced constantly by artists that I love. And when I went back and listened to it, there is a warmth and a depth to that record that, yeah, her voice is not my favorite, but there's other artists that I love that are not my favorite, but her songwriting is pretty incredible. That was the
Yep.
tiebreaker for me. So I'm going Joni Mitchell.
Cool.
All right. You have a very interesting matchup here. A lot of interesting matchups today. 371, Mott the Hoople with their record Mott versus 208, Cat Stevens T for the Tillerman. I'll go ahead and make this pick for you because I know exactly what you're going to say, but go ahead.
Well, there are two artists on this list that are in my all-time least favorite artists out there. One of which is in this combo. This is so easy. And the one thing I like about this is it's partnered up with an album from a band that I don't think people really know, Mott the Hoople. This Mott album is excellent. It's a little bit of Bowie. It's trying to think of somebody else, maybe Spooky Tooth. I know,
Yeah.
but a lot of people don't know a lot of Spooky Tooth either. It's such a great album. It's got a lot of soul. It rocks. It's got swagger, almost a borderline kind of a T-Rex vibe. Doesn't get quite that glam. Love, love, love this album. It's one of the first albums I bought on vinyl when I started collecting vinyl because you could find it so cheap. I think it was $5. Great album. Sorry, I know T for the Tillerman. That is his seminal album. He's got several. I have tried and tried and tried, and my wife confirmed it. Just not a fan, so I got to go Mott.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay, good luck on this one. Just good luck. Shawn, you have Sam Cooke coming in at 107 with Portrait of a Legend, 1951 to 1964. That goes up against 210, Neil Young with Crazy Horse. Everybody knows this is nowhere. I am dying to know where you're going with this.
Yeah. Sam Cooke is one of maybe the 5 greatest voices in the history of pop music.
Mhm.
I went back and I listened to this record. It's hard to vote against this record because every song, there people under 30 know 3 or
Right.
4 of the songs on this record. People under 50 know a dozen songs on this record. I mean,
Yep.
they're songs that are still played on movie soundtracks today, TV shows, commercials. Sam Cooke is an absolute legend. He's one of the greatest performers of all time. Died way too early. And then you
Yep.
got Neil Young at a very, very creative and productive time of his career. And I love this album. I love
I
Cinnamon
do too.
Girl. I love the title track. Down by the River is one of the just most badass songs ever.
Yeah.
I love that groove that they get into in the middle. So I think about these 2 records, and it's really tough to make a decision because I love Sam Cooke so much that it makes it so easy for me, but it doesn't. It's actually I'm going with Neil Young because it's a complete record. It's a time when an artist was at his peak.
Yeah.
Almost every
Mhm.
song on this album is a classic, Cowgirl in the Sand.
Yep.
I mean, he he just he was doing no wrong at this point. Sam Cooke, if there was even close to a tiebreaker, it's back to that greatest hits anthology thing. It's just a little
Yeah.
harder to put Sam Cooke above Neil Young here. So Neil Young for me.
Yeah, I agree. Kevin and I think we were at Yellow Racket Records here locally, just shopping the last time he was here, and the clerk was playing that album. Everybody knows This Is Nowhere. And I just looked over at I just looked over at Kevin and I said, "God, sometimes I really love Neil Young." Because and that's an album. It's just sometimes it just hits you right. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you're just not. He's definitely a mood music for me. But that for some reason it was early Sunday, early Saturday, something like that, and it was just perfect. And I was like, I got to go back and listen to this album more. So,
There's
good call.
something about that time period, not just for Neil Young, because I think this was released in '69. But there was
Yep.
just so much creativity at the time. I think there was a lot of healthy competition with a lot of artists at the time. Neil Young was just
Mhm.
starting to establish himself as a someone who could stand on his own after Buffalo Springfield and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And I think that Neil Young has a sound that you hear whether it's Van Morrison in the early '70s or Bob Dylan. There's just a sound and a creativeness that I love those types of albums. And yeah, he missed a mark on some records later on, but he wasn't
Yep.
missing much during this time period. And then you go to Harvest, and we've talked about Tonight's the Night, and After the Gold Rush. Neil Young's just he had a time where he wasn't doing much wrong. Kind of like Elton John we talked about.
Yeah, he had a very similar run.
Yeah. Okay, so we have our 8. You get to go first today in our redemption round. I'm gonna go back
Yep.
through your 4 that you picked, and then I'm gonna go through the 8 that we did not select. So your 4
Okay.
choices or your picks at this point are the OJ's Backstabbers, Barry White, Can't Get Enough, The Rolling Stones Now, and Mott the Hoople, Mott. Now
Okay.
I'll give you the 8 cast-offs that you have, and as we said before, there are no losers here. Pearl Jam, Vitalogy, Funkadelic, Maggot Brain, Simon& and
Stop
Garf
there.
Are you serious? I'll go ahead
Yeah.
and read them all out, but yeah.
Go ahead and read them out. Yeah.
Simon& and Garfunkel, Bookends, Raekwon, Only Built for Cuban Links, The Byrds, Notorious Bird Brothers, The Pogues, Rum, Sodomy, and the Lash, Cat Stevens, Tea for the Tillerman, and Sam Cooke, Portrait of a Legend, 1951 to 1964. You get to make a trade. I'm betting you're going to make a trade.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. This is pretty easy. Rum sodomy and the lash is definitely tempting, but it is not maggot brain. I'm telling you, Lee Hazelwood. Listen to his guitar playing. It is stunning because this was a funk band, but he influenced a lot of rock and roll artists. Amazing, amazing guitarist. Funkadelic Maggot Brain all day. I'm going to trade out. This is easy. Once again, I do love the Abco stuff. There's no knock on it. But I got to sub Rolling Stones now for Funkadelic. Easy.
All right. Well, now
Uh,
I get to decide. Why don't you read out my 4 choices, and that's going to buy me enough time. And I'm being
Yep.
serious about this to really think about this. I got to make a quick decision here.
All right. So your 4 selections right now are as follows: Jerry Lee Lewis, all filler, all killer, no filler. The anthology, followed up by Television's Marquee Moon. Follow that up with Joni Mitchell's Blue, and then cap things off with Neil Young with Crazy Horse. Everybody knows this is nowhere.
All right. So I am going to make a trade.
Okay.
And I am going to this is not gonna surprise you, I'm getting rid of Joni Mitchell Blue. You knew that
Yep.
already, I'm sure, because you know my music taste. Now I've got a
Yep.
really tough choice, though, to figure out because there's a few of these that really could for me, I mean, I really like Vitalogy. I really like Simon& and Garfunkel Bookends. I've always loved the Byrds, and I've had a soft spot for them for years. But I'm gonna go against the grain a little bit, and I'm going with Sam Cooke. Now I have
Oh,
2 anthologies in my 4 that I've gotta narrow down in a second with Sam
yep.
Cooke and Jerry Lee Lewis. I can't believe I have 2 sort of anthologies in the same batch of 4, but I do, and
Yep.
I'm sticking with it. I love, love, love Sam Cooke. So, there we are. Now, we have the tough choice of going each of us going from 4 to 2.
Yep.
You got
Yeah.
first choice on the redemption
Oof.
round, which means you also get first choice of having to now have the pressure of picking your 2.
All right. So first one out. I raved about that Mott the Hoople album. But I'm gonna boot that out first. I just want to let people know how good that is, not to be overlooked. It is definitely deserving of this list. Um, it comes down to My second discard would come down to between Barry White and Barry White's Can't Get Enough and the OJ's Backstabbers. I'm gonna surprise you. I'm gonna discard Barry White Can't Get Enough. So my two choices are Funkadelic, Maggot Brain, and the OJ's Backstabbers.
Those are your final two.
Final two, man.
Funkadelic and the OJs. Man, I love it. I don't know that you've had a round yet where you pick two sort of soul funk in the same round. Not that you've had a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah, this is
opportunities to do that, but that's cool. Yeah. So I'm looking at my list now and thinking, okay, I've got Jerry Lee Lewis, I have Television, I have Sam Cooke, and Neil Young. Neil Young is safe. I love that album so much. Neil Young is making it through for sure.
okay.
So
Yep.
now I got to make a choice between two great anthologies and one great groundbreaking record. And I love Jerry Lee Lewis so much, but I don't love him as much as I love Sam Cooke. So Jerry Lee Lewis is out. And then I'm down to
Nice.
Television and Sam Cooke. And I love Sam Cooke more than Television. I just do. But I'm going to go with
Oof.
Television because Television, I gotcha. Television is
You
a
did.
fully realized record. Honestly, if this was a Sam Cooke, that live record, or a lot of other soul records, I would have picked this. I would have picked a lot of Marvin Gaye records over Television, Al Green over
Yep.
Television. I really would have. But a Sam Cooke anthology to me, just being that thing that you and I have, I just don't see picking an anthology over Television classic
Yeah.
Lucky Moon.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. It's a shame. I totally agree with you on Sam Cooke, one of my favorite voices
mm,
ever. Absolutely. It's just a shame that there weren't more albums.
yeah,
Uh, More so like Al Green. Al Green gave us proper
yep.
albums to
Marvin
really
Gaye.
cling on to. So Marvin Gaye gave us those two, Stevie Wonder, the
Yep.
three of them gave you epic, epic albums. I wish we had that from Sam Cooke. I really do.
I do too. But I will say this for anyone listening, if you've never listened to this record, because it is
It's
a
excellent.
great collection and you'll just be marveled. I mean, just all of the songs in here, You Send Me and Chain Gang. There's so many songs on this album that What a Wonderful World. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So if you've never and I think back, I always think of that scene from Animal House, What a Wonderful World, when he's going through the cafeteria and picking up all the stuff. Such a great
Yeah.
scene and such a perfect song for that scene. Yeah, I'm a huge Sam Cooke fan. All right, so we are wrapped up on that. Let's let's go ahead and do our round 14 matchups. I just want to run through those really
Cool.
fast.
Yep.
Very interesting once again. I'll go my 4 matchups first and then yours. I'm gonna skip the ranking for now. Just wanna give everyone the heads up of who's up
Sure.
against who. So Kanye West, Late Registration versus The Mothers of Invention, We're Only in It for the Money. Of course, classic Frank Zappa record. My next matchup, Soundgarden, we were just talking about them earlier today, Super Unknown versus Ray Charles, the genius of Ray Charles. Wow, that's a matchup.
Yep.
Uh, then I have Lou Reed, Transformer, up against, and I guess it's pronounced Manu Chao.
Yep.
All right,
Perfect.
perfect. And it's Proxima Estación Esperanza. Okay,
Wow. Nailed
yeah,
it.
yeah. Some Spanish. And then finally for me, Nine Inch Nails, The Downward Spiral versus your favorite, a live album, and not just that, a live unplugged one, Nirvana, MTV Unplugged in New York.
Mm,
That's
that
an
is a
interesting
classic,
matchup.
though.
Yes, it
Yep.
is.
Yep.
It is. All right,
That's a good
your
album.
matchups. You have Parliament, Mothership Connection versus ZZ Top, Tres Hombres. Then
Mm.
it's Amy Winehouse, Back to Black versus Simon and Garfunkel once again, Bridge Over Troubled Water. Then George Michael, Faith versus Stevie Wonder, Talking Book. Oh man.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then I love this. This is so tough for you. Radiohead, The Bends versus the Yardbirds, Having a Rave Up. That's scratching two of your itches that I know you love so much.
This is such an interesting list, and we'll get to more of the granular stuff, but I looked at those first 2 and I go, "Oh, that's a tough choice." Well, I'll definitely snag one of those. And once I discard
Mm.
it, I'll just come back and snag, and then I look down the list and I was like, "Nope."
Nope, ain't happening.
Nope. I honestly have not previewed these lists. I created them, but I have not internalized them, previewed them, so I really don't know. So this is kind of a surprise to me. So good stuff. Looking forward to that one.
That'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's take and we'll do it in 30 seconds here. Do you have 2 albums on your list
Yep.
that you wanna talk about that should be in the 500?
Yeah, I've got a couple, and one of them's, I guess, controversial, but it's really not because there's 3 Miles Davis albums in there. So this is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but it's a variety of genres. You've seen soul, you've seen country, you've seen everything. Jazz should be no exception. If he's got Kind of Blue in there, and it is an absolute masterpiece, so is Dave Brubeck's Time Out.
Mhm.
Uh, he has probably one of the most recognizable jazz songs ever in Take Five. You've heard it a billion times. There's Blue Rondo. There's so many. I'm telling you that this is such a monumental piano jazz album. It is flawless from top to bottom, and he was just such a unique player. Love Dave Brubeck, so that is a without a doubt should be in this list. Um, and then I'm gonna go with a homer pick, and that's Elvis Costello. Got to go with Elvis. Got to go with Get Happy.
Mm.
Um, you got High Fidelity on the record. It is technically, I guess it's technically a double record. If it's not, it should be. I mean, it's huge. I mean, it's just a all-encompassing record. It just keeps going. And then they did the re-release of it on Rhino, where they gave you an entire bonus disc of bonus material. The promo on this is hilarious. There was a promo on the original record that played at the end of the record, and the promo it talked about it was just one-liners of how long the record was. It's hilarious. It's so good. It's such a great record. It is exactly what it sounds. Get Happy is a very happy album. It's got so many great songs. The Imposter. I love that record, and I feel like it's up there with everything. I think the only downside to it, maybe why it's not on there, is just length. So those are my two.
It's an incredible record. I think it's one of my 5 favorite Elvis Costello records. I'm not nearly as deep into Costello as you are. You know all of his stuff. I'm more a fan of his early records, and to me, I match this one up with all of his early records. I'm not saying it's as good as My Aim Is True or Armed Forces, but to me, it's in that group of albums where he just couldn't go wrong.
I can't believe you skipped this year's model. I mean, that album's brilliant.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. I tell you something controversial too, and we'll move on. And I kind of got a little perturbed at him for saying it, but then I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it, and it does work. I don't think it works as well, but Don at Ella Guru says that album is so much better if you play side C and D first, and then A and B.
Oh, interesting. I'll try that.
As it still works.
Yeah.
So I don't think it works as well. But anyway,
All right.
what you got?
I got 2 for you from the '90s that really neither one of them. I'm not surprised necessarily that they're not in there, but they should be. The first one is I just watched the documentary the other night, so it got me thinking about it, and that's the Counting Crows, August and Everything After. There are people out
Okay.
there that don't love Adam Duritz. Maybe they don't love his voice, they don't like his hair or the way he dressed or whatever. The dude was an undeniably good songwriter, and
No doubt.
you go back and listen to that record, and it's damn near perfect. I mean, there's not a bad track on that record. Perfect Blue Buildings, I mean, I don't care who sang that song, that's just great songwriting, and it could be done
Yeah.
1,000 different ways. It's so good. Everyone gets caught up in Mr. Jones, which is a great song, but Round Here, Omaha, Rain King, I mean, it's just such a great album, and I feel like it doesn't get the recognition that it deserves It was very popular when it came out, and
Yep.
now it's almost more of a footnote. And so,
Right.
yeah, for me, that one's always been a classic. I watched the documentary the other night on HBO. I think it's pretty new on Adam Duritz. Phenomenal.
Oh, cool.
Really,
Nice.
really good. Gave me good insight into his struggles and what he was going through at the time. And at the end of the
Yeah.
day, he's just a guy that loves music and happens to be a really excellent songwriter. And quite frankly, the album after it, Recovering the Satellites, is really good too. I always thought he was the next connection to Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, the band is very Americana to me, that especially the first
Yeah.
record, love it. Second one, we've talked about it before, if not on this podcast, on other podcast, and that's our hometown boys, Black Crowes. Southern Harmony and the Musical Companion is just a flat out unbelievable record. And it's
Yep.
never, ever, ever gonna make the Rolling Stone 500 or the Rolling Stone 600 or 700. I know it's not. But that doesn't mean that
Sure.
it shouldn't because it's that good. It's a band of dudes who hit their stride, and it's also nearly flawless record. So, those are my 2.
Great selections. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Alright, well, hopefully, when we're doing this podcast, not only do they love the competition aspect of it, but they like hearing our stuff at the end, and I hope people listening go, "Oh, yeah, I hadn't thought about Counting Crows in a long time," or, "Oh, that Dave Brubeck, that sounds like something right up my alley." And then they go listen to it and go, "Oh, I know these songs by Dave Brubeck. I've heard these in the background 100 times."
Exactly.
Yeah, so I love that.
For sure.
Alright, thanks, everyone. Be back next week for round 14. Final 4 out.